Welcome in, everyone, to another edition of the Countdown to Kickoff show.
What a crowd.
What a crowd.
Applause.
It is a strange night tonight on the doorstep of returning back to the gridiron at the link on Sunday. The coach has arrived.
Bringing mischief.
I have to sit next to this. I got to sit next to Kenny Pickett Jr. over here.
It's a mischief night game.
What is going on here?
I don't know what's going on. All I know, anybody watching on across the JAKIB YouTube network, if you go back and watch just last week's show, Rob, I don't think I'm embellishing. I don't think I'm embellishing at all. The coach was talking Eagles big time.
He was.
Oh, man.
I thought we converted him last week.
I am a undercover fan. They're my number 2 team. And, I'm from the area. Of course, I get behind the boys. But, this is fandom weekend. I got to ride with my flag, die on my sword if I have to.
I'm just worried that anything thrown this way is I'm going to get caught because of him wearing his jersey.
Ted. Keep your eye on
Okay.
Ted.
All right. I'm a little worried.
Well, it's a little bit of a subdued crowd here tonight, and I don't know if it's because of Philly's hangover or just coming off the bye week and getting back into the realization that this team is undefeated going into the game on Sunday.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of an early bye week, which I don't think people necessarily love. I mean, it helped the Eagles. It helped buy Lane Johnson a week, so he's going to be able to play. He's been cleared, all that. That's good. But it was early, and it also I think people were worried it halts the momentum a little bit. I mean, you were undefeated. You are undefeated. You were rolling, and all of a sudden, hit the brakes, and then here we go. I think that's probably what it is. And no disrespect intended, it's a team that's struggling that they're going to be playing.
Right, I cannot struggle.
Keep it real. Trying to be nice.
That's being generous.
I'm being kind.
We're a wreck over here on the east side of the west side of the state. But to your point, when you're rolling like this, you want to keep it rolling.
Yeah.
And if you want that bye week, you want a little closer to the playoffs, so you get the rest up before all the money's on the table, eliminations on the table. It is early. Plus, you got the Phillies distraction.
Yeah.
I understand why it's kind of quiet. The ticket prices aren't quiet.
No.
You would think this was a playoff game, some of the ticket prices that are going on out there.
Well, it's also weird, too, because you play Thursday then. You have the quick turnaround after having the bye week. You're going to be playing 4 days later, and then you don't play till the following Monday. So you get extra time. It's sort of like a mini bye that you're getting in between. It's a weird little stretch of the schedule.
And the Thursday game is down in Houston.
Correct. Yeah, well, it could be a Phillies-Eagles reunion down there.
So they have 3 buys.
Yeah.
Basically.
Kind of feels
with
like
the
that.
strength of schedule. It kind of feels like it's horrible.
By this Sunday,
is our Super Bowl. If we
team.
pull this off, we can be 3-16.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's a long shot.
Well, it's the Countdown to Kickoff show. We're here, and we'll get everybody started here on the JAKIB YouTube channel. We're at our favorite spot at Screwballs. We love coming out to Screwballs.
Yes.
There we go.
There he is.
We have to get this crowd, Rob. We have to get this crowd
pumped
up and fired up, because we want to come out of the game today, or on Sunday rather. We want to come out of the game 7-0. We want to beat the Steelers. We want to win convincingly and transition into the game on Thursday. And looking ahead, and I know you don't look ahead, but you could be 8-0 coming out of Thursday.
Keep stacking wins, because you have a few teams, Dallas, the Vikings. There's a couple other teams that are playing good football for the most part. But there's so much mediocrity in the conference. I mean, you just look at the South and you look at some of the other divisions, and teams have really disappointed. The credit to the Eagles, they show up every single week. These other teams don't. So when you have teams that should be beatable, you got to take care of business for later in the season if one of these teams finally gets on a little bit of a run.
Are the Eagles that good compared to the rest of the league? It certainly seems like that's accurate.
I think they are that good. And I'm sure we'll talk about it, but I love the fact that they stay aggressive, too, even leading up to the trade deadline, which, to me, and I was saying to Coach before we started doing the show, even if it doesn't work out, I would much rather my GM be aggressive and go for it than sit back and say, hey, we're undefeated. Everybody else is mediocre. Let's just sit on our hands. That's not the way how he approaches it, and he didn't here. I think it was a great move. I think getting Robert Quinn is a great move.
For a 4th-round pick.
Yeah, and you're
you
paying
pull
him
a captain
nothing.
off of the Chicago Bears front line.
Yeah.
A stud. I mean, I don't know how he's doing it. It's How much money how much cap space does this team have?
Bears are paying the $7.1 million. The Eagles are paying like less than $1 million for the rest of the season.
What's the story there?
Well, they want to get out from under the rest of the deal.
Doesn't make sense to me.
Chicago is looking to clear up cap space for next year, and it's an older player. They already they traded Khalil Mack. He wasn't necessarily thrilled being there. He wasn't disruptive, but he wasn't thrilled being there. So I think they're just looking. This is a clear shot across the bow. They're saying, we're rebuilding this thing. That's exactly what this is. From Chicago's standpoint, from the Eagles, even if it's a rental, you got nothing to lose here.
Add depth on the line. I mean, it's not there's no loss in it.
No.
A fourth-round pick is not losing anything.
Yeah, which is almost a fifth considering what their record's probably going to be.
Right.
And you still have 2 1s next year. It's not like you're doing what the Rams did and what the 49ers did, where they were just like, here, you want a first rounder, you want a second rounder, let me just deal. The Eagles aren't doing that. They're not mortgaging the future for this. So this is a brilliant move. The thing is, the Eagles' sacks, they're 4th in the league in sacks. But they've come in bunches in certain games. They got 9 against Washington, right? They want a little bit more consistency throughout games. And I think adding a guy of this caliber, he had 18 and a half sacks last year.
0.5.
He's only got 1 this year, but I saw a stat. It was a Pro Football Focus stat. He's been the most double-teamed guy the entire year in the NFL across the board because he's not playing with great talent.
Right.
So the opposing teams are saying, we're taking him away. That won't be the case here with the Eagles.
Oh,
when
yeah,
you have Reddick
he'll get
and you
home.
have Brandon Graham, and Sweat.
Oh, yeah. They're starting to look like that defensive line that won the Super Bowl.
It
with
has
the
that
depth where
feel.
their second team could play for be starters on a lot of other teams.
Yep.
So he's doing it right. Howie is they were talking a lot of smack on that guy a year or 2 ago.
Yeah.
He's really putting together.
Well,
a nice
I guess
piece.
Josh Sweat may take a seat on the sideline, and we'll revisit Josh Sweat next year. Perhaps.
I think you're just looking at a rotation, and these guys are be coming in and out, which means they're going to be
keeping
really
them fresh.
fresh. Yep. Yeah, and there's a couple guys you can move around on that defensive line. You can play them on the interior and the outside, which might just mean a few less snaps for Fletcher Cox and Hargraves.
Well,
Which makes sense.
Fletcher will take a few less
Well,
snaps.
right. He takes some snaps off now, even when he's playing.
Right.
So it'll be good just to kind of dial him back with some of the tread on the tire.
Countdown to Kickoff show as we come to you from Screwballs, presented by Ocean Casino. Go for the win. Go to Ocean, and we'll be right back there this week for the post-game show, the pre-game show, and the halftime show as we get everybody fired up for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Henry, give us your thoughts, your initial thoughts on this game. The last time I checked the line, it was, I think, a double-digit line. It was the Eagles favored by 10 or 10
and a half, depending on where you shop.
Will the Eagles cover that line? Will your team be competitive?
Well, my team will be competitive if the Eagles are not looking past them, but not kind of taking them serious. The Steelers are a weird team. Like, they'll step up and play great, sometimes against a really good team, and then they'll lose to the worst team in the league. I never know what's going to come into this town. Historically, we don't do well coming here. We did win, I think, the last time we were here, but 2008, we won the Super Bowl. We got killed here. We just don't play well here. I don't know what it is, but I'm not expecting much unless miraculously our offensive line turns into an Eagle-type line, but that's not going to happen. Our offensive line is pretty bad. The defensive line is going to eat them up by the end of the game. It could get really ugly down there, I think. That's why I sold my tickets.
See that? What a fair weather fan. He already dealt his tickets. But, no, Henry's right. I mean, this should be a game where the Eagles eat as far as the defensive line goes.
Yes.
Like, they should be able to – and we know Pickett – what is it, 2 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, whatever it is. His ratio's not good. So what you could do is, by creating that pressure, is force him into mistakes, Joe. And the Eagles have been great with takeaways this year. They've been one of the best teams in the NFL, if not the best. So that, to me, is another thing to keep your eye on. Even if he doesn't get sacked, maybe just you get him a little squeamish in the pocket, and you're going to get some picks.
Boy, I will tell you this. If I'm tuning back into the Eagles after a week and a half off, and I listened to the opening 6 or 8 minutes of this conversation here on the Countdown to Kickoff show, man, it sounds like a mail-in win on Sunday.
But when that happens, it never works out that way.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah, I do worry, like, lay off, smell yourself a little bit. Like, I don't think that's the character necessarily of the team. But you know how it gets. Some guys will get a little bit complacent sometimes and things go, I don't think it'll be Jalen Hurts, but it could be other guys a little bit getting complacent. That's what I would concern myself with, is they come – maybe a slow start. Also, the Eagles have been great in the second quarter. We know that. But I wonder what the first quarter is going to look like with a little rust on them.
Countdown to Kickoff show along with Rob Ellis and the coach, Henry Racich, as we come to you from Screwballs. Back in a moment.
At Pond Lehocky, we've recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and we're confident we can do the same for you. With over 250 years of combined courtroom experience, we've helped over 100,000 injured clients obtain some of the largest settlements in Pennsylvania. One conversation is all it takes to help you and your family get back on track. If you've been injured in an accident, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Do you stream on a Roku, Fire Stick, Android TV, or Apple TV? Now you can watch 6ABC 24/7 with the 6ABC Philadelphia streaming app.
The big story on Action.
Search 6ABC Philadelphia and start streaming today.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Up and go Birds.
Welcome to Pond Lehocky. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pond Lehocky a call.
Score and save in southeastern PA and Delaware with Colony Pools this football season, and let the experts close your pool with a custom Merlin safety cover in green for the birds. And if you join our Winter Watch team, we'll give you another 20% off, and Colony Pools will handle it all. Keep your tiles on your pool, not in your pool. Fly with Colony right now, Birds fans. Visit flywithcolony.com.
Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown's 5-day used car super sale. Jeff puts an end to high prices now. 5 days of the best car, truck, and SUV deals ever. Over 1,000 vehicles, every make and model. Stop overpaying. See Jeff today and get a quality car, truck, or SUV now. The 5-day used car super sale. Experience how easy it is to deal at Jeff's. Nobody treats you better. Nobody gives you more. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. GoJeffAuto.com.
Back here on the Countdown to Kickoff show as we get ready.
Yes.
We get ready. Nick is, I don't know what's up with Nick tonight, a little bit of sound effects.
Got a sound effects working. I like it.
It's that kind of a night. Eagles Steelers on Sunday. Eagles go back to work. And, of course, Barrett Brooks, who spent a great week a week ago out here as part of the countdown.
Rave reviews on the food from Barrett.
And I didn't have a chance to tell Barrett this, but I did want to tell him, and I might as well tell him live while we're on the air. Barrett, they were ripping you for your ticket giveaway process.
Uh-oh.
First time.
It was too quick.
You got to milk it more.
You weren't reading the full
No
ticket
suspense.
with all the
Build
numbers.
the drama. You got to build it.
There was no drama
Yes.
and no suspense, but we definitely appreciate you being here, brother.
You know what? They tried to prep me too, and I didn't listen. That's my fault. I'll come with my game face next time.
He's not coachable. I mean, he's just not coachable. I don't know what else to say.
I needed him this week. I'm rocking the black and yellow
Yeah,
tonight.
but
Barrett.
why
I
don't
got
you have
my
your
Pickett
Barrett
shirt
Brooks?
on.
He's got a Steeler. He's got a Kenny Pickett Steelers jersey
They didn't have
on.
one big enough for me.
We need the B. Brooks jersey on. Disappointed.
I'm waiting for it. Waiting for it.
Look!
Mr. Brooks.
I want to make it out of. I want to make it out of that town, man. So I'm not wearing that. I want to make it out of that town.
I don't know if Coach is going to make it out of King of Prussia.
I got the back door playing. We'll
That's
be
right.
all right.
He knows.
We'll be all right.
We cracked a window for him. He's safe. Don't worry about that. Barry, so I got to ask you. All right. So look at this matchup, and obviously the Steelers come in a little beat up. We're not used to this out of the Steelers. Do you worry at all? We talked about this in the first segment. Do you worry at all? There'll be a little bit of complacency with the Eagles coming off a bye, feeling good about themselves, undefeated against a team that they're double-digit favorites over. Do you worry about that with this team?
You know what? I would worry about it if I didn't have Jalen as my coach. I mean, as my quarterback, and a coach that kind of thinks the same way Jalen does. You can definitely hear by the tone of his voice and what he says out of his mouth that he's not going for anything but excellence. He wants to make sure that they go out and play and not leave anything on the table like they left the past 6 weeks. He really feels as though they have so much more that they can accomplish if they go in the direction they're going. And he's going to make sure they cross all their T's and dot all their I's because that's the type of guy he is. He doesn't get into that, we're good and, we can take a break. No, he's working even harder now. I can almost guarantee you he watched countless hours of film on the things he did wrong as opposed to what he did right, just so he can correct those and overcorrect those. So, he's going to go out there with a mission. He's trying to make sure everybody understands that he's the captain of this ship and those guys are going to ride with him.
Yeah, look, I think it's fair. And that's one of the things I feel good about is the quarterback is a guy who will never sniff himself, number one. And then you look at the coach, you're right about that. I know from the second before he sent them away to get a couple days off that he was hammering this point to them. So that's big. And they have a good amount of veteran leadership on top of those guys, Barrett, too, guys who have been around. I think that's going to help. It's certainly something that there's almost a human nature to maybe not starting off quickly against teams that you should beat up on a little bit. And they've been slow in first quarters, too. So, that's something to keep your eye on really early in this game, maybe.
Well, you know what? If you really look at that, this team understands that, they're going to be everybody's Super Bowl.
Yep.
Everybody's going to want to beat them because they're the number one. They're the top dog. They're the undefeated team. Everybody's going to want to give them their first loss. So, they're going to get everybody's A game. So I'm not going to worry about them coming out and having any lax play. I just know that this Steelers team is going to go out there and try to give them their all. They're coming off a big win against Tampa Bay. At this point, they're ready to rock and roll.
Barrett Brooks joining us here on the Countdown to Kickoff show. Barrett, if you had to identify an area where we should be concerned, in other words, let's get out of the clouds. Let's come down off the ether a little bit. We know we're 6-0. We know we're double-digit favorites going into the game against the Steelers. But what are we missing? Where's the Achilles heel? Where's the deficiency right now on this football team?
Well, I really think that PAT and extra point, we're hands-on. We're the best, as far as that. Jake Elliott is that dude. But I really think that our special teams is poor. They're less than adequate as far as being a team in which, you have to, set the table for the offense and the defense. We don't do that well. We don't return well, and we don't cover well. So because of that, that is our Achilles heel. The defense should be getting set up. We're getting pinned, pinning the offense behind, red zone. And then on the opposite side of the ball, the return game should be setting up the offense, in a positive manner, getting them more, better field position going into the red zone. We don't have any of that. Our returning game is null and void. So because of that, that you would have to say that's the only thing that we're not doing right. That's the only thing we're not doing well. We have to change it somehow. We need something to help us take it to that next level.
Barrett, when I'm watching the game, I'm looking at, when I want to see NFL football, I'm looking at the Steelers' defense against the Eagles' offense. That's going to be challenging. That's going to be really interesting to me. What scares me as a Steelers fan is that Eagles' defense on our offense. Now, if we could play a game where it was just kicker against kicker, that would be a much closer game. The spread wouldn't be 10. It might be 3 because we have a pretty good kicker, and so do the Eagles. That would be really interesting. Unfortunately, we can't do that. But, other than that, it just the Eagles' defense is so dominating and so ferocious. I mean, this Pickett, he's going to play NFL football this week.
Could be a lot of Picketts in this game.
Yeah. It's a shame. His ratio is like Peyton Manning's ratio, right?
From his rookie year.
Yeah.
But how surprising is that to you, just to pick up on Coach's point, that you lived it. You were an offensive lineman on the Steelers team. They've always been good in the trenches on both sides. This is maybe the worst one I can remember in a really long time, maybe ever, their offensive line.
Yeah, this is the worst ever. No question. That offensive line that the Steelers have, they couldn't block their way out of a wet paper bag. They can't run the ball well, and they can't pass the ball well. Usually you can do one okay, but they do neither okay. And that's kind of crazy because you look at the guys that they have there. They got Najee Harris, one of the better running backs coming out, first-round draft choice in his draft. I mean, he's a game breaker. He can take it. He can run hard in between the tackles. He's what you want from a running back. And then look at the receivers they have. Claypool. They got Johnson. I mean, they got players that can really play. They got Pickens. Second rounder they picked up from Georgia.
Yeah, Freiermuth.
And you have nothing from an offensive line standpoint to really help them out. They even got a good tight end.
Yeah.
But they just can't block either anything good. So that's why this team is as bad as they are. This is by far the worst offensive line I've seen a Steeler team ever have. We talked to Charlie Batch, earlier on today on Sports Take, and he reiterated. He said, "Look, we've always had a dominant offensive line, which helped us and hid a lot of the stuff that we didn't do well because those guys were so dominant."
Barrett, you were in Pittsburgh. I want to compare the two teams. Mike Tomlin always talks about the standard out there. And as far as I'm concerned, as a longtime Steelers fan, the standard has become a mediocrity in just having a winning season. What is Nick Sirianni, when you think about him and the standard that he's setting, what kind of pace and standard from his players do you think he's setting?
I'll tell you what, he demands excellence. When you look at how he goes to this and coaches his guys, you hear them saying exactly the same things. The same message is getting repeated week in and week out. Don't eat the rat poison. Making sure that you make your cross your T's, dot your I's. Everybody laughed at him when he talked about, being that flower and growing roots. Well, hey, those roots are set in, and they're playing like they got strong roots, man. He's a player's coach, and this team will do anything for that coach. And that's the level of excellence they have is the level that he's set for them. They are a better team. Well, they're a good team. Yes, they are. But the standard in which they go out there and play sets them into a better team. Nobody knew that, Jalen Hurts was going to be as good as he is going into this season. And he's prepared himself, made sure he's crossed his T's, dotted his I's, and he's even more than we even thought he was going to be. Well, I think this team's the same way. This offensive line is the most dominant offensive line in the league. And they walk around and they strut like that also. Now the defense is starting to take that same type of air about themselves. Now this defensive line is going to play at even a higher level. So I expect even more from the defense. This is one of those opportunities, rare opportunities, where we can see the future, where this team is really playing at a Super Bowl type of level. So that's the standard I think this team is going into. And I really think after the A.J. Brown trade, and they required him on the draft day, that level they were trying to achieve right now, a Super Bowl or bust.
Barrett, let me ask you specifically, because we touched on this for a second, but the issues that they've had in the third quarter, is that something this week and or going into the bye week that Nick Sirianni probably hammered home with them to be able to correct this? And what would you do to correct that issue?
Well, it has nothing to do. I don't even think it's the players. They're going to say it to the players. I think it's more so those coaches.
Oh.
I think the coaches have really sat down, were hard on themselves, and really self-evaluated themselves on how they approach this third quarter. I mean, you can't go in and say, all right, we're already up, that we can just, take our foot off the pedal. And I think that's what they've done. I think they're going to be more aggressive, especially in the run game, going into this with the offensive side of the ball. And then the defensive side of the ball, I think they're going to be more aggressive in sending blitzes and really heating teams up going into the second half also. They were like, all right, we're already up, and then that's it. And I think that whole mindset's going to change, and they've talked to each other and really, hammered that down. Like, look, this is unacceptable. We can no longer be this type of team, and I think this is going to be a huge change on how they approach being more aggressive going into the third quarter and the third quarter on, as far as putting your foot on the neck of a team, keeping it on there, and finishing them early.
Barrett Brooks joining us here on the Countdown to Kickoff show, spending a couple of minutes with us. Barrett, one last thought before we let you go. I almost remember you saying this as if it were yesterday in regards, and this is a follow-up to your conversation with the coach on Nick Sirianni. I almost remember you saying this like it was yesterday, only you said it a year ago going into the season, and you were talking about veteran players and what Nick would have to do to connect with those veteran players. And the one thing that stuck with me was your insistence that Nick Sirianni would have to convince the veteran players that he can make them better by listening to what he says. I guess it's an obvious yes, but where do you stand? What do you say on that now? 6 games into this season.
I mean, that's exactly what's happened. His veteran player. Anytime you hear guys like Kelsey, and when he talks, him saying the same thing that the coach is saying, he convinced them that yes, if you do this for me, I will make sure you will get better as a player, and that's what's happened. This team has gotten better because Nick Sirianni is making them better. He brought in a coaching staff that makes sure that they can put them on another level. Now, the only thing is, he's got to get on that special team side of the ball. But other than that, you look at the offense, you look at the defense. Everybody is running out there like, that they believe in what he's saying, and the veteran players have definitely bought into it, and they're bringing those younger players along with them, man. So anytime you hear the same message out from the veteran players like Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Fletcher Cox, you hear those same things being said by the head coach, that means the message is being brought into fruition, You look at the counter of that, look what's going on with the 76ers. You don't hear that message. You don't hear anything. Hence, that's why this team only has one win and losing, the way they're losing.
Barry,
the message is being lost from the players to the coach.
Great point with the Sixers analogy. Let me ask you, how would you incorporate Robert Quinn? Do you see this as just rotation, just guys coming in and out, sort of like we saw in 17? Is somebody losing playing time? How are they going to work him in?
It's going to be exactly like 17. I think it's more like he's the Chris Long of 17. That's what he is. He will come in on third down or obvious pass rushing down, and he'll be a specialist on also when they run their 50 front. Can you imagine this front? As an offensive lineman, this is something I'd be scared to death to go against. In the middle, when you run this 50 front, you got Davis, the big nose guard from Georgia, right over the center. On one guard, you have Fletcher Cox. On the other guard, you got Hargrave. But then on the outside, you got an outside linebacker as a defensive end as type of player, and Hassan Reddick. And the other side, you have the same thing in Quinn. I mean, pick your points. You can't slide the line either way. You got to block a man-on-man. And I'll put my money on somebody reaching that quarterback from those 5 players all day long. Or even looking at this. What if they want to go in a true NASCAR? A true NASCAR is when you have 4 defensive ends. Imagine being an offensive lineman blocking. You have Brandon Graham at 1-3 technique over the guard. Then you also have Sweat over the other 3 technique over the guard. And then on the outside, you got Quinn and Hassan Reddick.
Yeah, that's nasty.
Man, pick your poison, man. Those guys are getting to the quarterback. Just let those guys hunt. He will be in a position where he'll probably get like 15 to 18 snaps a game. That means he'll be fresh. That means Brandon Graham will be fresh. Sweat will be fresh. All these guys will be able to go out there and play balls out every single time that they're out there. This is just a great scheme and a great mix of players, man, that can heat up a quarterback.
Great stuff, man.
Shoot, man.
I'm ready to play right now, Joe. Let's go.
Let's plan
go.
a trip to
Let's go.
Glendale, Arizona,
Let's
right?
go.
I mean,
Exactly
it looks
right.
that way.
Poor Pickett. He's talking the whole time. I'm like, my guy's going to get killed.
Man, Pickett's going to get destroyed, man. Big B, Barrett Brooks, checking in on the Countdown to Kickoff show. Great stuff, Barrett.
Thanks,
Appreciate you, brother.
Way to go,
Thanks
B.
a lot, guys. See you guys tomorrow.
All right, see you, Barrett.
All right, Barrett Brooks joining us here tonight. Good stuff.
He's the best.
From Barrett Brooks. And, of course, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, and D-Gun.
D-Gun.
Monday through Friday.
12 to 3,
Day,
baby.
12 to 3.
Yes.
If you're not watching,
Get on.
You're missing out. We'll take a commercial break. Back in a moment.
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
And back here on the Countdown to Kickoff show with the coach, Rob Ellis. I'm Joe Kraus. Thanks for tuning in and watching. Henry, we've got a lot to unpack from Barrett Brooks' conversation, which we'll do this segment. Of course, if you're out here tonight, your odds are pretty good tonight. We always have a giveaway at the end of the night.
Yes.
Your odds are pretty good.
1 in 10. 1 in 10.
And Henry, because
of the shirt,
because of the jersey, I might allow you to be eligible to win tonight.
Whoa.
Win, so I can get Joe. There's our fans. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
It's totally up to the audience.
Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go.
Sounds like a big no. Sounds like a big no.
There's a Steeler fan right there.
We're going to give away one pair of tickets for the game on Sunday.
All right.
And I know you've been trying to get as many seats for the game as well.
Yeah,
so, if everybody in here consents, then I'll let you get a ticket, all right?
Is this by applause?
No.
Or by
just
boots?
laying out the ground rules early.
Okay. All right. If they consent.
So we'll see what happens,
Okay.
all right? All right. So
I don't like all that. I don't like your
by
chances,
a round
Henry.
of booze. By a round of booze.
Yeah. So we got 30 minutes to figure
Not
that
this
out.
kind of booze.
Let's jump into some of the conversation from Barrett Brooks, and thanks to Barrett Brooks for joining us. Man, I tell you, Rob, and you would know better than I, when you listen to the dialogue from the experts.
Yeah.
Man, is this team beatable?
They're beatable. They're going to lose a game, Joe. They're not going to run the table. But in terms of talent,
Why not? Why not? Because their schedule's pretty soft.
Because I just don't think it happens again. It hasn't happened since 1972.
I'm tired of that. 72.
I don't care.
I mean,
and that was
soccer
the
with the cane. I mean, I love the NFL, but come on.
Look, I would like to see. I don't need to hear from Mercury Morris anymore about them being undefeated. Trust me.
Right.
But I just don't think it's going to happen. But I don't think it happens this week. Let me put it this way. But they are really talented. I mean, this is a team that's stacked on both sides of the ball. I mean, think about when we talk about what the issues are. We have to go to special teams in the return game, or they don't play well in the third quarter. I mean, if you're in other cities, there's a laundry list of issues. There's not with this team. I could go defensive line now, especially adding Robert Quinn. Offensive line, arguably the best in football. Receiving core with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, and if you want to throw Quez Watkins in there, and Dallas Goedert, loaded. Running back who's having a really good year that doesn't get talked about at all, Miles Sanders. Your secondary with Bradbury and Slade, they're the two best in terms of passer rating against in the NFL. Then you add Chauncey Gardner-Johnson to that. Then you add Kaiser White to it. And then T.J. Edwards, who's a tackling machine. There isn't a weakness here. And they're well coached. They're well coached. Steichen's doing a good job. Nobody wants to give Gannon any credit. They're giving up 17 points per game. They're fourth in scoring and fourth in points allowed. And I think they're first in takeaways and they're fourth in sacks. This team is stacked. They're loaded.
I'm going to say, I keep going back to this, the strength of the schedule that they're playing. The Cowboys, legit team.
Yeah.
Top 15, top 10.
Yeah.
All right. After that, I think it's a little bit of a cakewalk the next couple weeks. The playoffs, the way they're building this team, they're building for the playoffs and that run. Like I said to Rob before the show, it's like blood in the water, the way they're going after this free agent market. And I like what I'm hearing. When you hear Barrett break it down with the X's and O's, the way he's breaking it down is how the coach is breaking it down, the GM's breaking it down, adding depth to that defensive front for the long run. They're very healthy compared to the rest of the league. Certainly the Steelers, they're banged up as could be. And you see how one player can change everything. Like Watt goes down. Down goes the Steelers' chances almost instantaneously. The only thing that scares me, the only thing that can stop this team right now in this cakewalk of a schedule is a major injury. And barring that, I think they could go undefeated in the regular season.
I just don't see it.
Where do you see the loss?
Okay, so I think especially that stretch where they're playing back-to-back-to-back. Yes,
Dallas is the threat, you think?
Yeah, 100%. Dallas is the threat, period, especially with Dak. But you're playing, that'll be the third straight of 3 on the road, Christmas Eve, against Dallas. That has loss written all over it. I think there's something else before that. I think there's at least 2 losses on this schedule.
Slip up on what?
Yes.
So let's agree that their only weakness is their return coverage game. Their return game.
Yeah, but we've seen them hibernate sometimes during quarters.
All right, and I chalk that up to they get out to such a big lead. I think it's any team I've had dominant football teams. We just get up, we blow people out in the first half, and we think they step off the gas. I put subs, I get more people playing time.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not going all out in the third. But I just don't think it's that they're a bad third or quarter team. I just think they don't have a killer intention in the third because they're up so much.
Well, it's clearly fixable. If you can play that way in the second, you can play that way in the third. I think it's clearly fixable. I just think
they come out so fast. It's unbelievable.
They do.
That scripted play they have, that first 15, it has defensive coordinators. You don't know who to key.
Yeah.
You can't key anybody in this offense.
That's one of the toughest things about them from an offensive standpoint is we see when they want to put games away, they run it. They just run it down your throat. But they can also jump you early in the passing game, whether that's A.J. Brown on slants if you want to get the ball out quickly, if it's deep shots with Devontae, if it's Goddard. They can kill you so many different ways. That's the other thing you like about this team is, a defensive coordinator may say, I'm going to take this away. Okay, but the Eagles can counter. Not every team can counter the way that the Eagles can, too, which I think is big. But I'm sorry. Maybe it's just the Philadelphian in me or whatever. I just don't see it. I don't see the undefeated thing. I think there's a couple of losses here.
Henry, how are the Steelers game planning this week for this Eagles offense?
I can't even imagine offensively what they're thinking to stop this defensive rush coming. I mean, our rush game, we're like 32nd in rushing. Our rush game is abysmal against this defense. So that's not going to change in a week. Their passing game, without protection, you have to play Pickett because he's mobile. Trubisky can't get out of the way of anything. I don't know. I mean, keep it close. Their game plan is probably let's not turn the ball over.
Yeah.
The last week they had 5 3-and-outs in the second half. I was falling asleep on offense.
Yeah.
I only want to watch this team when they're on defense or Boswell's kicking a long field goal. So I can't even imagine how you attack this defense if you can't run the ball. When there's no run threat, there's no threat.
If you had a competent offensive line, you would Pickett would attempt 17 passes, and you run it 30 times.
With Najee. You have a
With
horse
Najee,
back
who's
there
really
that you
good.
can't do anything
Yeah, he's
with.
really good, but you're just wasting him. And it also keeps the Eagles' offense off the field. That would seem to be a really sound strategy, but if they're trying that early and they're losing 3 yards, and it turns into Pickett throwing, then it becomes a total Eagles game. You're feeding right into what the Eagles do best, if that's the case.
That's when the 3 and outs happen. When you pass.
Yeah.
You're off the field. Here comes the Eagles offense again.
Yes.
Where the strongest part of this team is their defense, the Steelers. They're going to wear them out.
Yeah.
I mean, from the very first series, all they have to do is run the ball. We're not a huge run
No, it's
stop.
small, actually.
Yeah, it could get ugly. I hate to say it. It could get ugly.
Man, this game's over.
That's the kiss of death. It's not over. It's not.
Anything could happen.
Look, there
on
are
any
2
Sunday.
wins this year. Correct me if I'm wrong. They beat the Bucks, and what was the other? What was the other win? Was it what we thought was
The
going to be good?
Bengals.
Okay.
They opened up at the Bengals.
So they beat the Bengals and the Bucks. Now I know the Bengals have grossed.
They played well in the Buffalo game, right?
Yeah, they did. I think even though the Bucks have
For a little bit.
way underachieved, the Bengals are starting to show you that they're a real team. So I'm just saying, like they beat 2 competent to good teams somehow, some way.
And then they lose to the Jets. And then they lose.
Well, the
to
Jets are a lot better than we thought they were going to be. So I'm not like. I don't. We can have this mindset, but I just don't want the team to have this mindset that it's going to be a walkover.
The only chance Pittsburgh has is if their defense scores at least 1 touchdown.
And the Eagles don't give the ball away.
Right, and because the talent on this team is on the defensive side. The true athleticism on the offensive side, but our coordinator, we throw 5 and 6 yard passes. We don't stretch the field. It's frustrating for me. I'm frustrated talking about, what could possibly happen down there. But, I don't see the Eagles losing this game. I just don't see it.
This thing's lights out, lights over, Rob.
Well,
I mean, it really is. I mean,
Well, you can't say that in the NFL.
The danger
You
zone.
never
That is
know.
the danger zone, Joe. I never go there. Like, I think the Eagles win. I feel confident the Eagles are going to win. But this they don't even have to show up thing. That's when you get.
But
your
when
butt
you're
handed to you.
matching up, the Eagles are in the, or the Steelers rather, are in the room right now.
Let's do that. Matching
up against the Steeler or the Steeler defense, matching up against the Eagle offense. Who are they going to stop? Who are they game planning for? If we go into this game and we contain Jalen Hurts, we got a chance. If we go into this game and we keep A.J. Brown out, we got a chance. Who are they planning for on Sunday?
Last week, the Steelers played the Dolphins, who had the fastest receivers in the league. Yep. Right? They have 2 Ferraris on the outside. They played a lot of zone. They kept them in front of them. And they do have a solid, pretty good run stopping.
They actually played well in the second half defensively.
So the defense is the most interesting matchup. The Steelers defense and the Eagles offense. They're not going to you can't game plan against one player against the Eagles. That's the beauty of this offense. It's so multidimensional. Any game, another star could pop up.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
And Minka Fitzpatrick is a great player.
And he's back this week. So I love the matchup. Like, you're going to see real championship quality football with the Steelers defense and the offense. It's just the other side where it could be a complete whitewash. Our offense of line cannot protect our quarterback and cannot push any defensive line.
To answer your question, I think what they're going to try to do is take the run away, and I think they're going to almost have the approach the teams had last year, make Jalen throw to beat you, which he can do now much better
with
than
the weapons he has.
Much better than he could last year, but that still may be their approach. Let's take Miles Sanders in the running game away. Let's force Jalen Hurts to throw, and let's see if Minka Fitzpatrick can make a play or something like that. I think that's what their approach will be.
Countdown to Kickoff show with Rob Ellis and Henry Racich.
Let's go, Phillies!
1 segment to go.
Let's go, Phillies.
And this game's already in the books.
No, don't do it.
Back
don't
in a
fall
minute.
into the trap.
That's the trap. That's what we're saying.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Philadelphia fans, we're cut from a different cloth. Born into a brotherhood and bonded to our team for life. We believe anything is possible because we've witnessed the impossible. While we may be from different neighborhoods, come Sunday, we are one, and we will be heard. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Go passionately. Go fearlessly. Go confidently.
Go Birds!
Go confidently towards your goals with First Trust, Philly's hometown bank for nearly 90 years, and the official bank of the Philadelphia Eagles. We're focused on getting you over the goal line. So go with conviction, go with trust,
Go Birds!
and go forward with us by your side. First Trust Bank, the official bank of Philadelphia dreams. Oh, and go Birds.
Score and save this football season on your car insurance. Before the next game, save up to 40% on your auto insurance policy. That's right, 40% savings. Call an Audible this season and contact the Del Val Insurance Group. They're an advocate for you, not an insurance company. That means they'll get you the right coverage and save you up to 40%. Call managing partners Fran or Jim of Del Val Insurance, 215-354-0122, or score and save at dvigi.com. dvigi.com.
Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown's 5-day used car super sale. Jeff puts an end to high prices now. 5 days of the best car, truck, and SUV deals ever. Over 1,000 vehicles, every make and model. Stop overpaying. See Jeff today and get a quality car, truck, or SUV now. The 5-day used car super sale. Experience how easy it is to deal at Jeff's. Nobody treats you better. Nobody gives you more. Jeff D'Ambrosio, Destination Downingtown. GoJeffAuto.com.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services. The first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
Welcome to Pondley Hockey. We've helped over 100,000 injured and disabled workers obtain benefits, as well as some of the biggest settlements in the state. If you've been injured at work, give Pondley Hockey a call.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Over the last 17 years, we've built a reputation of growing award-winning teams across the country. Staffing is not easy, but that's what we do every day, all day. The key to our success is storytelling, asking the right questions to find the right people. Hi, I'm Gary Kane, president of Kane Partners. We want to be your staffing partner.
And back here on the Countdown to Kickoff show for what is our final segment.
Man, what? Yeah. Is it like this when you walk into any place, Joe? You get that applause like that?
I will say this.
Rose petals dropped.
I will say this. I knew it was going to be a strange night when Henry took the jacket off and he came up on the set with the pick.
Mischief night.
Yes.
Mischief night football.
He's got his Tommy Maddox jersey on.
Do we still celebrate Mischief night?
Do we celebrate it? I don't know if we say it's. I think it's
still celebrate it.
I think it's still around.
The eggs, the
somewhere.
toilet paper. Nah.
That's right.
I'm bringing mine to the stadium. My eggs. I want to be a Philly fan.
Yeah.
Throw stuff at people.
You're getting tricked. It's not going to be a treat on Sunday.
Maddox, good call.
I can promise you that. Yeah, Tommy Maddox.
Right.
All right, good stuff. Well, thanks to everybody coming out to Screwballs. We love doing the Countdown to Kickoff show out here at Screwballs.
Great
and it
crowd.
certainly will be great
to
get back into our next rhythm, you know, for the season. And we go as the team goes, and, you know, 51 minutes into the broadcast, you know, I'm ready to I'm ready to call it a day.
You're on to Houston already.
Let's get Houston.
You're on to the Texans.
Forget the Texans.
Oh, you're on to the following week after
playoffs.
that. Oh my God.
I mean, that's how good.
All right.
That's how good it appears to be when I hear you talk about it, when I hear Henry analyze it from a coaching perspective, when I hear Barrett Brooks nail it from a player's perspective. Boy, as I sit here, I wonder, and I know I'm not going to get the answer, but I just wonder what is the Achilles heel. I know he said special teams. I don't care so much about that.
But it's a third of the game. It could catch it.
How do you beat this team? How does this team lose, or how does this team become real?
Here's the answer. They have to beat themselves. And they haven't done that yet this year. Jalen Hurts takes care of the football. The Miles Sanders, which it's been an issue in his career, isn't turning the ball over, isn't fumbling. Joe, they have to shoot themselves in the foot. I don't think the other team is necessarily going to take that away. It's got to be them.
I feel like the team to slow the Eagles down has to match their athleticism on defense, match their offense, because they have so many weapons. Somebody can play man. When you play man, you can spy.
Yep.
You know, they have to have, the kind of D-backs that the Eagles have and linebackers. The other team would have to almost mirror image their defense is the only thing that could slow this rhythmic offense down. Because once they get on a rhythm, they are unbelievable. I mean, my jaw was open the first two drives of last week's game.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my, anything they did worked. They were popping for 6, 8, 12 yards every play. They'd have to, a defense with the athletes on the other side playing a lot of man is the only thing that I think could really disturb them.
A team that describes, what he's saying is Dallas. As much as I know nobody wants to hear that, but they get after the quarterback. They have more sacks than the Eagles have. Granted, they didn't have the bye, but they are a team that gets after the quarterback. They have corners who are capable of manning you up. With Dak, without Cooper Rush, who turned it over 3 times, and it's not just that the Eagles are playing back-to-back when they play them. Dallas is a dangerous team. I'm telling you right now. They are a team that's got some of these capabilities that he's referring to.
And they've seen him once.
Yep.
They saw him without Dak. They're not going to jump on them like they did that game. I think the Eagles jumped on Dallas in that game, kind of caught them on their heels a little bit. Then it settled down. And if they had an answer back offensively, if Rush had an average game instead of a horrible game, it might have been a little closer. So
Absolutely.
On their schedule, Dallas is truly the threat. But then you're going to go see the playoffs and stuff like that down the road.
Yeah.
If they see a Buffalo, they're very athletic defense. The Chiefs have an athletic defense. That's what I want to see. I want to see this Cadillac up against the other Cadillacs.
Well,
they're just rolling people right now.
The Giants only have 1 loss. I understand that. The Vikings only have 1 loss, right? And the Eagles handed them the 1 loss. I don't put those 2 teams in the category with Dallas. I think they're behind Dallas. I think it'll catch up to them. They'll start losing some games. The Cowboys are the team for me. If I'm doing power rankings of the NFC, we do it every week on Sports Take. We do the NFC, AFC, and then the NFL. Today we did the NFC. Cowboys are number 2. And I don't really think it's all that close who's number 3. I mean, the 49ers I thought were going to be better than they were. The South stinks. I mean, let's be real about it.
Right. Packers are done.
Packers are a mess. And Rodgers is calling guys out nonstop. So, look, there's a lot of different ways this could go. Yeah, could they get it together? For sure, they could get it together. I think San Fran's going to get it together more than they have. But I don't think they're great. They're very flawed. The Eagles have less warts than any other team, and Dallas is a close second.
I was so glad to hear you referenced at the very top of the show here on the Countdown to Kickoff show. I was so glad to hear that Lane Johnson was cleared to return, because it's the first kink in the armor in the Dallas game. When Lane left that game with the concussion, it was the first.
They went after Driscoll.
They went after him.
And it worked.
And it worked.
And mind you, it's Micah Parsons. It's a really good pass rush anyway. But that's when you saw, yes, the Eagles have good depth. The other part is they don't have Andre Dillard yet. You could always put Dillard at left side and move Mailata to the right. You could do that.
Right.
But that was an issue. And we hadn't seen a guy be kind of picked on like that all year. And they went after him real good. So having Lane back's job.
It's so unusual to see that kind of impact when an offensive lineman goes. The offense is cluttered with stars, right? And then you're right, tackle goes down. and then all of a sudden your offense goes into I mean, that's pretty telling.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, and they were double teaming Parsons, and he still was getting there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's huge on that line. I mean, it's just the way they have this put together, that's the only thing that can slow this team down right now is a major injury.
Yeah. I think, look, Lane Johnson hasn't given up a sack since, it's been more than a full football calendar year.
You take the bigs for granted sometimes.
Yeah, you do. You really do.
They are the unsung heroes.
When we don't notice them, it's a good thing.
Right, right.
What do you expect, Rob? And then, Henry, I'll let you follow up. How do you expect this team to come out? Will they look to crush this team early or not?
I think
everybody comes out, they want to win. And that's an obvious question, Q&A. It's an obvious question and answer. But will they?
Yeah, I think that I think because it's been probably harped on all week to start quickly because you've been off for a week, the coaches in the back of their mind are a little concerned about that. I think they will come out quick early. I do. I think they'll jump them in the first quarter. Now, the question is, can they keep that pace up? That's hard. It's hard to keep that pace up. But what I would do is anytime it's a passing situation, and I'm talking about from a Pittsburgh standpoint, I'm setting the house, man. I am setting the house. And it's dangerous because you get beat. Steelers do have good receivers. They do. They have really good receivers.
And it's a shame they get wasted.
Yeah, but I'm forcing Pickett to show me that he can handle that. That's what I would do.
I mean, one thing I'll say about Pittsburgh is they always hang around. They're like that hang around team.
Yeah, they don't usually get run out of the building.
They're always a plus or minus away from winning the game.
Yeah.
One turnover, and then all of a sudden they will. If the Eagles don't jump them, then I'm getting nervous because they do hang around and do some funky things, and this offense is not designed to give him a lot of time to pass. Mm-hmm. So it's dink and dunk, and I think defenses take advantage of that and they jump routes and stuff. But I think Canada's under some pressure to air the ball out, and they do have big receivers.
Yeah.
So Canada's in a no-win situation at this point. I think his job is definitely on the line.
He's the guy getting more heat than even Tomlin.
Yes.
Like there's a faith level with the Pittsburgh people in Tomlin, but with Canada, they're like he's their Shane Steichen. He's the guy who's going to be the odd man out.
They come in here and beat the Eagles. Canada keeps his job.
Yeah, Canada will be all right.
Period.
Yeah.
So he may get a little risky this week and throw the ball out there.
Like from his standpoint, he doesn't have a lot to lose here because their offense has been futile.
Abysmal.
So they got to try something new.
That was actually going to be my final question before I got your picks and predictions. If you are the Steelers and you don't have anything to lose, does that help you in the process when you come into a game and you game plan for
everyone's picking against you?
Game plan against the Eagles.
Don't lose sight of Barrett's point. You're every team's Super Bowl now. The big bullseye on your back says you're undefeated, and all Pittsburgh is saying is, they already think they're going to the Super Bowl, man. Everybody's crowning them. Look at how they're looking at us. And that stuff does work. Those head games work. So I think Pittsburgh will come out very motivated.
And it's not like it's a true away game.
Yeah, you're going to have a good amount of Steelers.
Every time I go down, it was 50-50.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be 50-50.
We'll see.
I think it'll be.
I'm coming down with the Army.
50-50 might be
that's an optimistic view.
Stretch, Henry.
Why are the ticket prices so they're through the roof? That's the Steelers fans driving that.
Yeah. Ticket prices.
Yes.
To get into the link
are crazy.
They are.
For this game are crazy.
I know. Well,
a 2-5 team against a 6-0 team.
But also, you have an undefeated football team, and a lot of people want to see an undefeated football team in the city who may not have had that opportunity before.
I want to see the towels. The towels will tell.
Towel schmal, man.
You're going to see them.
Well,
this guy.
The Phillies got their red towels now. Come on,
that's
where'd
true.
they get
Rally
that idea
towels
from? Right.
Yes.
Home Sunday, on the road Thursday.
Yes, quick turnaround.
And then
they're not. They don't play till Monday.
And, the Monday night game is where?
They get an extra Washington home.
Okay. So Washington home.
No Wentz. It will not be Wentz.
Yeah, Wentz is out.
Yes, it'll be Heineke.
So
I like him.
I like Heineke.
Scrappy.
Too. Yeah.
So you're 9-0? Right?
Well, if you win Washington, this will be 7. Houston would be 8, and Washington would be 9.
No traps in there, huh?
Yes. Not in that stretch. Look, Houston's got 1 win. They have a tie, but Houston's awful. The Steelers are really struggling. I don't know. Washington surprised me last week. I need to see what that looks like with Heineke for a couple of games before I'm ready to just, say that that's a run over too.
Right. Pick 'em.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah,
What a
it's gonna be
ride.
fun.
Enjoy the ride.
That's awesome. We're
Countdown to
we're in a great
Kickoff
time.
show, man. What a great,
Philly's in
what a
heaven
great
right
year
now. Heaven, Philly's
to be doing a live show.
Oh, God.
Out at Screwballs. What a great year to be an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
Great year to just be a Philadelphia fan in general. Let's get picks from the experts on this game. I don't even know if we need to go through the exercise, but we will anyway. Rob, we'll start with you, and then we'll finish it up with the coach.
27-13 Eagles. They will cover. It will be an under, but they will cover.
Oh.
All right, 27-13.
They're going to score all 27 in the first half.
Second quarter.
Second quarter, okay.
I'm going to go 34-14, the Birds, because I'm a realist. I'm a fan, but I'm a realist.
Okay.
That
I'll give him that.
That defense is going to wear down.
He didn't sell out.
Yeah, but we're going to still be – the towels are still going to be going, baby.
Talvis.
Will they be hanging around, Henry?
They're going to
Will they be hanging around in the third quarter?
No.
No.
I think they're going to get jumped on. Yeah, I think the Birds are going to come out, take care of business after the bye week. Let's leave no doubt. Let's not – because the Steelers are a dangerous team if you let them hang around.
Agreed.
I think Sirianni's like, let's leave no doubt. What they did to Dallas, they're going to – because they can impose their will on the ground. And eventually that defense is going to wear down because they're going to be on the field so much. We're going to be 3 and out so much.
That's what I always – that's such an X factor that you can just do that. You can take the air out of the ball and just wear the other team down. And that's the big thing with
What's
that run.
the number? And Henry, maybe you know this. Rob, maybe you know what it is. What's the number of minutes for you to control
for time of possession?
Time of possession. That if you control that number, it's a W.
Uh,
I think it's a misleading stat, though, Joe. Sometimes
the Eagles are really good at that.
They are this year. When they needed to
when they needed that drive, that 9-minute drive.
Yeah.
They can do that at will. It seems a 9-minute drive.
I would say if you're in the 30, if you're like in the high 30s.
We're talking rushing.
No, just time of possession.
Just time of possession in a football game. That's
a lot, right? If you're like 38 and the other team's at 22.
Well, it's 15-minute quarter. I would say,
somewhere around
28 to 30.
Somewhere in that
25
range.
to 30.
That's a pretty good ratio for the winning team, for the Eagles. I think they've learned that the formula is, all right, if this thing's even in doubt, we're running it and we're going to end it. Like, you're not getting back on the field. You're getting on the field with very little time, and it's more than one possession. That's sort of been what they've seen the last couple of weeks. It's the way it's developed. I don't think ideally they want it that way. That means the other team's making a run in the third. But they know they can go to that in the fourth quarter. I mean, you've seen drives of like 7 minutes and close to 8 minutes to almost end games the last 2 weeks, or the last 2 games that they played. So I think that's always there in the back of their mind.
I'm going to retract something I said earlier. I think the Steelers defense typically, if they don't give up the first touchdown, because they're big with that. Sometimes they just give up the first touchdown.
From a confidence standpoint, if they don't give the first one up?
If they don't give up the first touchdown, they buckle down. And they usually start strong and fade because they're on the field so
much, because the offense is 3 and out a lot.
Right. So if they don't give up the first one, it's not going to be a blowout.
I buy it.
I haven't paid attention to it, and I know we got to wrap up, but I haven't paid attention to the decision on the coin toss.
They defer a lot, the Eagles do.
They do. Still doing that?
Yes.
Still valid
They
reason
want it in the
to do
second half. They want the ball in the second half.
Steelers do the same
Yeah, and they especially want it because they know they have big second quarters, and then they'll get the ball on the first possession. It hasn't necessarily worked out because you haven't had great third quarters, but they are a big believer in the deferment.
All right, good stuff tonight here on the Countdown to Kickoff show. Stick around, the JAKIB pregame show on the JAKIB YouTube channel. Mark Farzetta, Derek Gunn, and Seth Joyner, and we'll be back at halftime of the football game, and then the Pond La Hockey post-game show live from Ocean Casino Resort. Mike Missinelli, Seth Joyner, Derek Gunn, Devin Caney. Should be a great celebration.
Here we go.
On a Sunday night in Philadelphia. On behalf of Henry, on behalf of Rob, and everybody who came out tonight, see you next time, everybody.